Breaking right now, hundreds of anti-Israel protesters are now overtaking a lecture hall at UC Irvine, about 45 miles from here in Orange County. Students are being told to avoid the area because the police are closing in. And yet another graduation ceremony is marred by an anti-Israel walkout as NYU grads chant that we will free Palestine during a ceremony at Yankee Stadium. Let's get back live to the senior correspondent, Kevin Cork. Kevin.
Trey, scores of police officers converging on UC Irvine today as you pointed out, pro-Palestinian demonstrations escalated. Our local Fox affiliate reports protesters occupied and barricaded themselves inside the Physical Sciences Lecture Hall, which is near their encampment. And while no classes were being held in physical sciences today, classes were being held in other nearby buildings, two of which were locked down. A campus alert advised students to avoid the area. Now, this all happened as a group of NYU faculty and staff called For Justice in Palestine disrupted NYU's commencement over Yankee Stadium. The group chanted, "We will free Palestine," while some protesters had their hands painted red. Others held Palestinian flags. That demonstration comes as other demonstrations and protests have disrupted commencement ceremonies across the country. Amid the controversy and what some have called a rise in antisemitism on college campuses, House lawmakers are hearing directly from Jewish students from Harvard and Penn. In fact, they did so at a hearing today on Capitol Hill, lawmakers pledging to dig into anti-Semitic activity on college campuses. And, of course, the ongoing response from both the federal government and universities, which some have deemed insufficient, Trace.
Yeah, many have deemed that. Kevin Cork live for us in the nation's capital. Kevin, thank you. Let's bring in the Foreign Desk Editor-in-Chief, Lisa Daftari, and Remi Franklin from Bulletproof Israel. Thank you both for coming. Remi, kind of you to come on your birthday for us. We appreciate that. Lisa Daftari, it's interesting because you look at UC Irvine, they're taking over buildings now, and you think, you know, what's happening here is they're going from college campuses, but it's about to go all over. They're going to go and get their own little encampments wherever they happen to be this summer. It's going to keep going on and on.
Of course it is, because they're being rewarded. They look at schools like Rutgers and Brown and Northwestern, and they see a small group of agitators that do not represent a generation. They do not represent all college students. They do not represent all universities. But a small number is being hyper-represented in the media. Yep. And the schools, this is the damaging part, are willing to sit with them. They're willing to meet with them. And they're giving in to these gross concessions. What's the message to these students? Yep. You bully your way, you get your way, and now they're being rewarded.
Yeah, it really is. And I want to play some sound. These are NYU students chanting at Yankee Stadium. So listen to some of this, if we can swap over and play this. The sound of them chanting at Yankee Stadium goes as follows. Watch.
We will free Palestine! We will free Palestine! Within our lifetime! Within our lifetime! Free Palestine!
The dichotomy of this is you look at the Fox News polling and it says feelings toward campus protesters, Remi, over Israel-Hamas war. And you say support 33%, oppose 59%. So the support is going toward and against these going toward Israel, going against these protesters. And yet, as Lisa was saying, the universities are caving.
I mean, the universities are problematic in general with what's happening. They've done nothing to stop this, nothing. And in some cases, like I said, they're cowtailing and they're letting it happen. The one thing, though, is America's starting to see who these people are, right? And a lot of the people on the campuses are not actually students. They're paid agitators. They're there to cause trouble.
Yeah, it really is interesting because, you know, you look at this and you hear the chants, and then we take you now to Capitol Hill because today there were some Jewish students who were testifying before members of Congress. Here's a couple of them. Watch.
While students walk to class, they're met with masked individuals screaming at them, quote, "Go die, you are Hitler's children and Nazis."
I have seldom experienced such disdain, disregard, and contempt for a minority group than the way in which Harvard treats its Jews at Harvard.
It's 2024, Lisa.
Yes, and they'd like to paint themselves as anti-war and pro-human rights, freedom protesters, but they're actually pro-war and anti-American and anti-Semitic.
Right. Yeah.
And the the people around the world are watching this, and they're understanding that's exactly who they are. If this actually were about policy, if this actually were about the land war that's going on in the Middle East, they would not be threatening to behead the administration like they did at George Washington University. So it obviously has nothing to do with that. And this is what's unfortunate is that it is shaping and invigorating and empowering these students to continue on with their radicalism. This is going to become a huge issue if we do not root it out. It looks like the universities do not want to root it out.
I keep asking, I say, when are they going to say release the hostages? When are they going to say Hamas surrender? When are they going to say, what we're going to protest is anybody sending any weapons to Israel? No, it's about divesting. They've got an agenda, a certain precise agenda. I want to play one more soundbite from one of the students, and we're going to butt it up to Gerald Nadler and what he said at the hearing today, and I'll get your final response, Remi.
Within 24 hours of installing 2 American flags at Harvard Divinity School, they were vandalized 3 separate times. The flagpole was ripped in half. The flags were tossed across the ground. This is not just about anti-Semitism, and it's not just about Jew hatred, but it's hating the United States.
Criticism of Israel's government or political criticism of Zionism on a college campus is not inherently anti-Semitic.
The left doesn't get it. It is inherently anti-Semitic, and they say it again and again. And when people show you who they are, Remi, like you've said many times, believe them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that these students, I'm going to use that with air quotes, have to wear masks just shows you where this is at. Also, what Jerry just said is ridiculous. It is completely anti-Semitic. The actions are anti-Semitic. They're all anti-Semitic. And when the fact was that UCLA parents were calling us to escort their children through campus to make sure they were safe, it's 2024. I mean, come on. If you can't say that screaming that in someone's face or pulling down a flag or threatening students with death isn't anti-Semitic, anti-Zionism, when they say it's just another way of saying you're anti-Jewish.
That's exactly what it is. Remi, happy birthday. Thank you for coming in. Best of luck. You're going back to Israel. Safe travels to you. Lisa, thank you. We appreciate it. Coming up, article